Digitize and monetize with iEnt Live, the only platform that provides complete digital support for entertainers, promoters, businesses, and entrepreneurs. Leverage our one-stop digital ecosystem that will allow you to promote your music, sell albums, and host paid events, host webinars and sell courses, promote your concerts, sell tickets and live stream events, and market your business or project to generate new customer leads, traffic, and more. This is all supported by our homegrown AI-driven digital marketing infrastructure that has successfully served hundreds of clients around the world. To learn more, send us a message or call 765-4641.
Hi, good evening. Welcome to the NLCB Pulse by Bloodline on iEnt Live. My guest this evening is National Humorous Calypso Monarch, National Extempo Monarch, entrepreneur, the original Myron B, christened Myron Boost, but now known as Calypso Nite. Welcome to my show this evening, Myron.
Good evening. Thanks for having me, man.
Myron, first to begin, tell me something about Myron B. Where you come from, something about your family, that type of thing.
Well, I was born and raised in the beautiful hills of Maraval.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm the last of 9 children. Right? They say the baby.
First one, yeah.
So basically, life in the village was a very nice, entertaining one. It was a nice mix of almost urban / country life that we enjoyed in Maraval in the early days. We know everything about climbing mango tree, right? Going in the bush to bathe in the spring. And then coming back out and being part of the normal society.
Yeah.
The village was a very tight-knit one. So literally every house was like your family, right? Every household was a family of some sort. And the community itself, everybody was like a brother, a sister. And life was good coming up in the 80s and the 90s in the community.
Tell me something about schooling and your hobbies as I go for what hobbies you used to play?
Well, I'm an adventurer. Right? I tried a little bit of everything, a little bit of football, a little bit of cricket, and all of that. But my one hobby was always storytelling and music. In the early days, I went to the Maraval RC school, right? And that is when the first signs of artistic ambition started to show itself, right? I used to write a lot of short stories in those times, and I used to read a lot, like too much, right? My head was always down in a book, reading a story, learning about something. And as I went on to secondary school, I went to Woodbrook Government Secondary. And that is where my love for music really blossomed. And mind you, not as a result of any direct activity in the school, but just as I came into that age between 11 and 12 there, that's when music started to look like a direction that I should be heading in.
So who are some of the earliest influences in your life as far as music and the arts are concerned?
Well, I could safely say the earliest influence I could think about is my father. Right? My father was a guitarist. He used to play in the old combo bands long time. Right? By the time I came around as number 9, he was way past those days. But he always had a guitar in the house and he always used to play music. The community itself as well played a very influential role in my leaning toward music, especially around Christmas time. Christmas time was a magical time for me as a child coming up. because the parang used to literally start at our house, right? We had one neighbor that used to come by with a quattro, right? He used to hear bum 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 bum, right? And the parang used to start Christmas morning at our house, and that whole joyous, festive feeling of the neighbors coming and going around house to house paranging, that musical callaloo, because nobody was an actual singer, right? It was this hodgepodge of drunken voices that used to sound so melodious. That basically blew my mind as a child, seeing that entire thing come together, 25, 30 men moving around the village singing, and you could hear them when they leave our house. You could hear every house that they went to. And to hear the voices echoing off of the hills, right, in the valley, it was just amazing to me as a child. It was an amazing spectacle.
Any of your other siblings
Oh
follow
gosh,
that?
of course, we come from a steel pan house as well, right? My father is a pan man as well. His band was Casablanca, right? In the early days, I did play a little steel pan as well, right? I didn't like it too much, right? I preferred percussion. I used to play percussion at we had a little steel band in the village called Marval Blanca 47. And I think I played 1 year with Casablanca. I think I played guitar pan, but my other siblings, they were more, they lean more toward the steel pan. Right? I had one older brother. He got into the steel pan thing. And of course, my sister, Avis Bruce, who was also a panist and arranger as well, and a part of the National Steel Symphony system, one of the founding members of the National Steel Symphony Orchestra. Yeah, we came from a steel pan home as well, right? I was just the only one that leaned toward calypso and music in this way.
What are some of your accomplishments in the music and the calypso and stuff like that?
Well, I mean, accomplishments, if you're looking at national awards, I would have had...
And we go into other things.
Right, I would have had 6 national humorous calypso titles. The first one being in 2002, then in 2004, and then we had 2012, 13, 14, and then the last one would have been 2017. That's the last time they would have had a humorous calypso competition. Then in 2018, I would have copped the National Extempo Monarch. Right, but when we start to talk about musical accomplishments, I have to put on the other hat, which is the music producer hat, right? Because one of what I would consider my biggest accomplishment in music and in the arts is not really related to me personally as an artist, but rather the amount of work that I would have produced for other entertainers, both young, upcoming, and seasoned veterans, to basically just energize the calypso and the Christmas soca parang genre. Right, so we would have produced, I mean, at the height of my studio days, we used to produce upward of 50 songs a season, right? And just turning on the radio or walking the streets and hearing the work that we would have produced in those days, we're talking like coming out from 2006 straight up to about 2013, 14, when I basically started slowing down a bit on production. That is what I would consider my greatest accomplishment, being able to contribute to the entire art form on a whole.
Very, very good. As a matter of fact, I must compliment you on some of your work, some of your Christmas songs. What strikes me about your work as an entertainer, a composer, and a performer is the uniqueness of your work. It's not like la la la, drink a rum. It always have a very provocative or interesting story behind it. In the arts, what are some of your most memorable experiences?
Oh my goodness, I've had so much.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I performed at a Calypso tent. Well, even let me go a step behind that. The first time I went to a Calypso tent, right? It was actually in 1999. I was just 18 years old, just fresh out of school, and I got a job to work at the door at Kaiso House. And that was my first Calypso tent experience. And it was magical. Now, I was already on a path to entertainment, to become an entertainer. But I wasn't necessarily looking at the Calypso tent as a space to go into. But after that experience, that year, Singing Sandra would have sung Voices from the Ghetto. We had Shadow in the tent. Black Stallion was at the height of his powers in those days. And it was just a magical experience to see all this diversity right within Calypso, right? And being part of it, I mean, those days the tent was still pumping, right? We didn't start to see the significant decline in numbers in the audience and so on. And that was one of my greatest experiences. Coming out of that, the following year, when I joined the Yangatang Calypso show with Errol Fabian and Nikki Crosby and the rest, it was a very strange callaloo of cultural practitioners. That was another memorable time for me. Actually hitting the stage first time as a professional, frightened, and being able to entertain the crowd, and we get some encores on the night. It was, it was rather encouraging. Beyond that, I would have to say the first time I performed at Skinner Park was another memorable time. That was the year they held the Humorous Calypso Monarch at in San Fernando at the what was the semifinals. That's the year I won my first title, and it was, I mean, for it was how to put it. Words can't even express what it felt like coming around the bend and seeing this audience, not knowing who I am, not knowing what I was coming to sing, and basically, having a very, very, very good show that won me the title that year. Right. Beyond that, there are so many other things. I mean, the little things are what stay with me the most. Right. So yes, we would have done great shows. We would have done massive shows locally and internationally. But sometimes it's the smallest little pockets that really leave the most lasting impressions. And for me, like performing at the orphanage, right, every year, right, that is like one of the shows that I look forward to, right? Doing some of these charity shows outside of the corporate or the promoted events, as they would have produced some of my most memorable moments.
Why preference for humorous?
At the time back in 1999, when I was trying to make a break into entertainment, I started producing. I was in other studios doing soca and that kind of thing. I started as a dancehall artist. Used to do a lot of freestyle and that kind of thing as well. And I wrote one funny song.
Before you finish,
yeah.
Dancehall artist, you are dancehall artist?
How you mean? That's where the thing starts. Nobody could have chance like me. When they come on, you check me from about 93. Nobody was bad like me. Freestyle, yeah. Right? That's the direction that we were going in. And I mean, if the space was as open and as accommodating as it is today, chances are I would have been a proper dancehall artist.
Wow.
Right? And I mean, what changed? You see, what changed my focus was back in somewhere mid-90s, Ronnie McIntosh was doing a little interview on the news. That's when he was at the height of his powers, talking Ent. That time, that Ronnie McIntosh. And Ronnie said a lot of the youths don't really appreciate their own. And they only gravitate into the foreign thing and not appreciating their own thing. And when he said that, it resonated with me because I too was guilty of that. Right? I wanted dancehall beats. I wasn't interested in the calypso thing. I grew up in a house that I mean, we played a lot of calypso. We had all of the calypso records. So I basically grew up on roots reggae or rockers and old time calypso. So I always had a fond appreciation for classic type witty calypsos and the nice groove of reggae music. Right. So by the time I hit my teens, I mean, I was all about freestyle, right? And clash and all these things. But that one interview that I saw with Ronnie McIntosh somewhere in 94, 95, I can't remember when it was, is what basically started to point me in the direction of our local versions of artistic expression.
Who is your favorite humorous calypso?
Man, it have so much. And it's a funny thing. Coming up, I never really gravitated toward having a favorite act or favorite artist, but rather I developed a fond appreciation for different people and the way they crafted their work. And I'm not just talking humor, I'm talking across the board in entertainment. Now, when I decided to embark on an artistic career, I had a good look at everybody. I looked at Byron, I looked at Bob Marley, I looked at Michael Jackson, Sparrow Kitchener, everybody. And each one had their own unique bit of magic that made them special and made them unique. So when it comes to humorous calypso, of course, Spoiler is very crafty and witty, and his imagination was out of this world. But then when you look at Sparrow, right? Look at a Mighty Sparrow performance of one of his more witty pieces. You would see a different type of magic. And then you could simply make one little glance across and you see Shadow, right? Performing another cleverly crafted piece with a different vibe and a different energy. And it was those little bits and pieces that I would have taken from all of the people that would have been performing. And I think what really crafted my my love for humor was that one opportunity that I got with the Yangatang, that then on to Maljo Kaiso Calypso 10. Now, I wrote one funny song back in 1994, 95 or something like that. 95, 96, I think it would have been. Because I was looking at a show on the Promenade on one of the TV stations, and they were saying that, I mean, I was looking at everybody going up and singing all of these popular songs. I said, why look at the crowd dead. Why they don't go and sing a funny song, right? And I picked up the guitar at the time. I'd only known 3 chords, and I wrote a funny song. And lo and behold, that was the song that I ended up performing like 2 years after at the Calypso tent. And that basically got me my break into entertainment. So to say I have a humorist that I totally love, right, or looked up to, I didn't really have one, but really appreciated everybody for what they had. And in terms of my humorous development, living with I must say living because when we did the Yangatang in 2000 and then Maljo Kaiso in 2001 straight through to about 2004, 3 I think it would have been, I basically was a very young impressionable talent, raw talent that lived and toured with the likes of Zandoli, Lord Blakey, Mighty Power, Errol Fabian, Mickey Crosby, Larry Joseph, Damian Melville, just to name a few. And that time that we incubated together, but basically opened my eyes to a whole lot of different artistic and comedic expressions. And this is what basically created the Incredible Myron B. All the crafty and the humorous lyrics, because it had the privilege of working with the theater group people, the stand-up comedians, the humorists that are part of Calypso. And I mean, that's what basically created the humorous that everyone needs.
Wonderful. Let's talk about another hat that you wear as well. Okay, so you continued doing the productions for artists and spin artists getting the work out there, right? And then there's another company that you own or co-own. Correct me if I'm wrong. iEnt. iEnt. Tell me something about iEnt. How started iEnt? You know, something about iEnt.
The well, we're from on the spot now. We come to talk artists today, right?
You're talking. What is an iEnt? Put an artist order.
Well, iEnt started as Incredible Entertainment Limited, a company that I registered back in the early 2000s. And it was basically an entertainment and advertising production company, right? And it's through there we used to do a lot of the production work, video and audio production work that we used to do. And over the years, as you know, times changed and the culture evolved, we started leaning toward doing a lot more marketing while leveraging all of the production experiences that we have. One of the biggest challenges that we found was that entertainers were not moving as fast as they needed to in the digital space. Right? And we decided to basically shift our focus, like about 10 years ago, to providing more digital support services, not just for entertainers, but also for businesses as well. So this is what birthed iEnt Digital, or iEnt Live as we are today. Right? Today, iEnt Live is basically a platform that offers digital support to entertainers, promoters, businesses, individuals, and anybody else that need any type of digital support. And what we are trying to do with iEnt is basically shift into the 21st century, right? As it relates to entertainment and the arts, we have a problem with a lot of entertainers not knowing how to digitize and how to monetize themselves online, right? And they could only depend on the old model of, you know, getting a promoted booking or selling a CD or an album. Now we have some that have shifted toward going after live streams or streaming income, but there is a lot more income available to entertainers that they have not tapped into. Right, monetizing our product online is not just putting up work for streams, but everything from shows to selling our expertise are ways of monetizing. So the iEnt Live platform is basically set up for that. So we have a facility where we could basically monetize entertainers through, or entertainment and art, or let's say culture, through virtual events. We could monetize the entertainer through sales of his work online, and also creating videos on demand that people could purchase later down, right? And I mean, you need to check it out, and anybody looking on, make sure and check it out, iEnt Live, iEnt live.com, and you'll see what we're talking about.
Okay. So we've reached to the trivia part of our conversation. I call blood pressure. I just have a couple questions. Bring it. Your blood pressure good?
Yeah, I good. Let me see it.
So let's start. Bulljoy or smoke heroin?
You see, I had a problem there, right? I would say none, because I don't eat meat. No kind of meat at all. But if I have to choose one, I would choose saltfish. Bulljoy.
Bulljoy.
Yes.
Right. But by the way, smoke heroin isn't that fish?
Smoke heroin is that's a different kind of thing. They smoke that fish. That goes well, it's salted and they put it to dry. Different processes.
Tulum or sugar cake?
Oh God.
What?
If I'm to buy one, boy, I would go for sugar cake. But I love Tulum, so I kind of split it.
Mango or pomsite?
Oh, mango and on any day.
Mango. Christmas or carnival?
Christmas, boy.
Beach or river?
Beach. Love it.
Funny or Kid Callaloo?
Oh, good. Lord God. No. Wow. I had to pick one.
Yeah.
Whew. Funny wins. But Kid Callaloo is my boy.
Okay.
That's a politically correct answer.
Right. Very, very well handled. Westerns or war movies?
Oh God, I love war movies. I love you. I love war.
Football or cricket?
Whew. Now you see, I would normally go. I mean, since I started going to the stadium to watch our national team, I've only missed one game on local soil. Right now, I stormed the oval as a child to watch cricket as well. But if I have to pick one, I'll say football today.
Country life or town life?
Country life all the way.
Sparrow or Kitchener?
I would go with Sparrow.
Sparrow.
Yes.
Very well. You pass with flying colors.
Yes, man.
By the way, people, those of you out there, you all have heard what NLCB is saying. Play safe. The NLCB cares about your health and safety. Please remember to follow all the health guidelines. Wear your mask, wash your hands, and watch your distance. Myron?
Yes, man.
Why are you rebranding the Incredible Myron B to Calypso Nite? And what I have to point out is that Nite, when I first heard it, I thought it would be K-N-I-G-H-T, like night, but it's N-I-T-E. So why do you rebrand?
The rebrand was something long in coming. The Incredible Myron B lasted 20 years, right?
Yeah.
In 2020. And, it built a very solid brand and repertoire in the cultural space. But I would say about 12 or 13 years ago, while doing a lot of digital work, I realized that the world was going to get very, very much smaller. And we have a window of opportunity to do some more work on the global stage. So with that global vision in mind, because we start sitting in the digital marketer's chair, right? It was clear what was about to happen, which is basically what is happening now with the way people access entertainment, the way the entertainment industry is changing. And we are now moving from stage performers and actors and artists to content creators, right? So with that vision in mind, about 12, 13 years ago, I started with the team and let them know that we have to do some rebranding in the very near future, right? When we start and we looked at everything from creating backlinks and understanding the whole digital space and how it works with search engine optimizations and so on, we opted to go with the name Calypso Nite, right? Night as in good night, the night is a beautiful night, right? And Calypso Nite is basically a digital content creator that will still do Calypso music, yes, that will still perform everything that Incredible Myron B would have built over the years, right? Not that we scrapping everything to start new, but basically taking it into the digital age, into the digital space, the way it needs to be taken. So we have a situation here where you might go to perform somewhere else in the world, and if we say, right, I am Incredible Myron B, the first question someone will ask is, okay, so what kind of music do you sing, right? That introduction should be short.
I understand that, and I think that that is a very wise decision that you made.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't look at it from that point of view. I just saw that the Incredible Myron B is such a unique name, you know, kind of colorful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, but so I mean, we still bringing all of the color, but
Mm.
over the years, as Incredible Myron B as well, there was a parallel body of work that never got released because of what the path that I was on. So we have a large body of internationally appealing work that just never got released, that we recorded, we put down, we left. You know, I mean, sometimes we might have teased with a little bit of it, but we never really put out that work. So now, as Calypso Nite, we have an opportunity to introduce ourselves to markets around the world with a fresh product that is 100% Calypso,
Well,
right?
I
But
guess,
into the global audience.
I guess it answered. You just answered what was supposed to be the next question. I
Mhm.
asked you what are some of the projections for
Mhm.
international aid, the global market, etc. for iEnt Live. You
Yes,
know,
well,
yeah. So,
well, I mean, for Calypso Nite, the a nice example of it is Extempo News,
mhm,
right? Extempo News is a hit across the West Indian diaspora,
yeah.
right? We have had people across the Caribbean from all over the islands coming in to try to partner with the Extempo News project.
Mm,
I'm talking from Barbados, Bahamas, London, the States, Canada,
mm,
right? And this is part of what the Calypso Nite brand is about, as we spoke about digitization and monetization and
mm,
appealing to a wider audience as well. Right. So that was just like a bit of a first phase. As it relates to iEnt now, we are on the same path, right? We have basically moved out of just doing marketing for local brands and local businesses. And we are also doing marketing for international companies as well, right? We market as far as the States, Europe, and the African continent as well, and
mm.
the Central America and Central and South America as well. So the global space has gotten, the global village, as I say, has gotten a lot smaller.
Right.
So we now have to think a lot more out of the box when it comes to what we present as cultural practitioners and what we have the capacity to do as business people as well, right?
Right.
And once you understand what is possible, you would basically now have an opportunity to now grow into an international brand, whether it be artistically or business wise, right? That is self sustaining because we're living in a time where businesses would partner with entertainers or as they call it now, content creators, right? And open up a whole different stream of revenue that, in many ways, and for many people, is much more lucrative than what we would have traditionally known.
Right. 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 What has COVID-19 taught you most about yourself?
Um, COVID-19 has taught me that, I mean, it is a very strange thing. It taught me that I was on the right path,
Mm,
right? In terms of the vision for where life, culture, business, and society was heading,
mm,
right? And by the time the pandemic had set in, we, from an artistic point of view,
mm,
we had already, my manager and myself, we had
mm,
already sat down just after Carnival last year, 2020,
mm,
and said, all right, that's it. We're not entering any more competitions. We basically going to go full digital now and up to start earning as we would have in the real world,
mm,
equally or even better in the digital space,
mm,
right? It was a big gamble for us at the time because I mean the pandemic was around, but it didn't look like it was going to hit home yet,
mm,
right? Or it was going to hit home this hard.
mm,
But by the time it had set in, and we basically started activating some of what we had planned and started seeing it working, right? It meant that we were on the right path. the pandemic has also brought a lot of us closer together, right? And a lot of the things that we not have valued as much. Me personally, I've come to even have a greater appreciation. For example, I'm not one that into that nightlife and party and that kind of thing. But seeing our people not being able to express ourselves the way that I used to affects me just as the person who love to go out party and fete and all of that, right? Because the spirit of the people has now been affected. And what I did, I took my part, my role, I should say, in the grand scheme of things very seriously. I'm an entertainer. I'm here to entertain, right? I'm here to bring positive energy and put smiles on faces. And not having the capacity to do it in the traditional way and seeing how people have been starved of this release outlet. It really brought a lot of things into perspective. And for me, once the thing opened back up, we're going to try a lot harder to show some appreciation for who we are and what we have the capacity to do and what we have the capacity to do.
All right. Thomas, my last question. Where see Myron Bruce in the next 20 years?
In the next 20 years, as long as health and strength permits, I continue blazing the trail and leaving path for others to walk on, right? While clearing, the little brush that started growing on the paths of those that have come before, right? Because we have a lot of people that put in a lot of work culturally that, we have to now re-energize, right? So everybody, when they talk about Kitchener, Sparrow, Lion, Attila, Spoiler, Rose, right? All of those people that would have come and blazed that trail ahead of us. A little bit of grass starts growing on the path already, right? So I need to clear that off and make sure that a nice paved road is there for other people to come and walk up or drive through smooth.
Thank you very much. Myron, I thank you for being my guest this evening.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me today, sir.
We have been looking at NLCB Pulse by Bloodline on iEnt Live, and we've been doing the first official interview with Calypso Nite on iEnt Live. God bless. Good evening. Ciao.
Digitize and monetize with iEnt Live, the only platform that provides complete digital support for entertainers, promoters, businesses, and entrepreneurs. Leverage our one-stop digital ecosystem that will allow you to promote your music, sell albums, and host paid events, host webinars and sell courses, promote your concerts, sell tickets and live stream events, and market your business or project to generate new customer leads, traffic, and more. This is all supported by our homegrown AI-driven digital marketing infrastructure that has successfully served hundreds of clients around the world. To learn more, send us a message or call 765-4641.